Hello there, welcome to my channel, Mo Moon. My name is Mo. Welcome. Today we're going to do a really fun video. I'm outside, and as you can see, and today I'm going to walk to our local cemetery and do what I normally do there, but take you along with me to kind of get an idea of what it's like for a witch to go to a cemetery. I go to the cemetery often, so I'd like to take you with me. I brought a tarot deck because I like to, when I can, draw some cards from the tarot as a message from the spirits of whatever cemetery I'm at. So I brought the Druidic Tarot with me today. By Andrea Cogerino and David Lopez. So it's the Druidic Tarot. And I brought some incense, I brought some crystals, I brought a rosary. I put it all in my wallet, and I brought some money. And yeah, I'm very thoughtful when I go to the cemetery, so I'd like to kind of just record that, you know, because I think it's interesting. It's interesting for me if I go back and watch it. It's interesting for you if you are not familiar with what it's like when somebody like myself who is a witch goes to a cemetery. I don't have any relatives buried in that cemetery, so it's not like I'm going to visit a relative, but I do have a gravestone that I usually go to, and I also have a tree. It's my witch's tree, and I'll usually just give some love to the tree. And yeah, and you'll see it's gonna be fun. So I'll take you along. We're gonna walk there. It takes about 15 minutes to walk there, and then we'll walk back, and that'll be it. So have fun. Lots of greenery around here. This is a wonderful. The air is amazing. It's so nice to be able to interact with the spirit of air and the element of air. And yeah, the birds are chirping. It's such a lovely day. I brought my shaker cup. If you watch my channel and you stay abreast of what's going on with me, you'll know that I opened a second channel called Sarah Elizabeth Galoo Health on YouTube. I'll link it in the description box. But I'm drinking branched chain amino acids, and it's in the sweet tea flavor. So it's like super perfect for summer. It's still summer, as much as August 1st is upon us, and I'm already anticipating too, because it's going to be quite a month. October is a doozy. October. Yeah, so I'm already thinking about October, and I'm excited for October. Yeah, let's just say that, because October is like a full thing. Like starting October 1st, I am writing my ancestors a letter to invite them over for the full month of October. But I also invite spirits who are of good intention, if they want to find a place to rest, because, you know, Samhain, October 31st, Halloween is all about the fact that the veil is thin and that our ancestors who have passed on want to communicate with us. So you can talk to, according to ancient lore, when the veil is thin, you can talk more directly to, let's say, your deceased grandpa or grandma, you know. So yeah, it's a fun time. So starting October 1st, I would write a letter of an invitation letter, but also a letter of gratitude to my deceased ancestors, and also, like I said, inviting spirits who are of good intention to find a place of rest if they need it. And so I create a dumb supper, which a dumb supper, if you're not familiar, is basically a supper where you set a place at the table for your deceased ancestor or ancestors, depending, because I mean both skies. So yeah, you would set a space at the table and you would cook a meal and you offer a plate of food at the place that you set for your deceased loved one or loved ones. And you sit down, and I do this, I sit down with my letter of invitation and gratitude, and I read it out loud, and then I eat my plate of food with the person that is, or the people that are seated next to me in that ancestor's chair. So it's really meaningful. And then I buy tea lights, electric tea lights from the dollar store, and I light tea lights every night from October 1st to obviously October 31st into November 1st. So I light the tea lights every night, and then every morning I turn them off. And the tea lights are there as a beacon of light for spirits of good intention, or for my ancestors to be able to find the way to my home. So yeah, that's what I do. And my arm is hurting me now because I don't have a selfie stick. There goes the crow. You know what to say when the crow crows. Blessed be the crow. Three, two, one. There's many things that come to my mind when I think of the number 321. I think that it could be an angel number. But if you're not into angels, it could just be a number from the Divine Mother. And I just want you to hold on to that memory of what first came to your mind when I asked you that question. What was the first thing that came to your mind when I said 321? You know, for me, it could be a request to the Great Mother for something specific that you would like to bring into your life. So for one, 321 could be one of those magical numbers where you're being encouraged to make a wish. So for me, when I think of 321, and it's not something that I normally do as far as what I'm going to do now. I don't usually tell people what I'm wishing for, just because it's personal, and a lot of people don't want to get into spirituality, to be honest. They prefer to just live in the real world and, only pay attention to the physical realm. And, spirituality isn't for everybody. And just because I'm spiritual doesn't mean that the next person has to be spiritual, or believe anything that I believe even. But anyways, so for me, when I think of a magical number like 321, I ask for a good day for myself, and that I might have a good day today. That it might be a fucking amazing day. Pardon my French, as I say. But I also add numbers a lot as a message from the universe. So if you add the number 3 with the number 2 and the number 1, you get the number 6, and the number 6 in the tarot is the Lovers. So I try to find out where the Lovers is present in my current life. Like, where can I feel that higher I don't know what I'm saying. But the Lovers is about choices. It's about choosing to have, sorry, the plane's going by. But the Lovers can really just be about making a choice to choose to see the magic all around you. I think that's something that I have been learning and connecting with quite a bit lately, is just being present with the magic, because it's all around us, it really is. And I think that's what the Lovers, that number 321 for me, kind of represents. It represents me being in love with magic. And once you start to see the magic, you crave wanting to see more magic. That's the thing. Like, you have the heart of a child that is just open to experience life without any reservations about if what they're saying is making sense, or, not only that, 321 could also be like a countdown, right? Like 3, 2, 1, blast off, and then I think about the astronauts, and I think about the courage that it takes to rocket yourself into outer space where there's no air and you have to be encapsulated in a shuttle. I mean, it's just insane what people do. And 321 is a message to us, and me included, because I'm human too, that we can do hard things, that we can be courageous, that we can be brave, that we can face our fears, that we can go through our fears, that it's okay. And what I'm thinking about is that verse from the Bible. I believe it's in the Psalms. It says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear not no evil, for thou art with me." And I don't have anything wrong with that verse, because I believe that it's true for my life. And I think it has to be true no matter what you believe. Even if you're not spiritual, you have to believe that you will be successful if you overcome your fears, And I mean, I'm sure if you ask any CEO of a company or a businessman, they would tell you they had to face the hard things in order to build their empire, And then when I think of the number 321, I think about the number that comes before the number 3, or after the number 3, I should say. Before the number 3 would be 2, and 2 is the High Priestess. And the High Priestess is saying, what comes after number 3? Can you put it before the 3? What do you get? I get the Emperor. But what comes after the Emperor and being in charge of all the kings and all the queens and all the jesters and all the pages? Because the Emperor rules all 4 kingdoms, right? And the Emperor is not able to do that without the help of the Empress, number 2 in the major arcana of the tarot. So, you know, the divine feminine is rising. And I think the more the divine feminine rises with the help of the divine masculine, because the divine masculine, you can see the effects of love now. Ever since COVID, you can see that people, they're not the same anymore. They're more open. They're more open to listening to something beyond the earth, you know, beyond what you can feel and touch. And that's kind of what I'm doing now, going to the cemetery, is just acknowledging that these spirits exist, acknowledging that they have a voice, even from across the veil, and that it is a loud voice. It is the voice of the masses who have passed on and who have faced their fear and conquered death. You know, death is not the enemy, but that's why you have to walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Every day you have to say, even if it's dark, I'm going to make it through. Because I have the light, whether it's from within yourself or whether it's from outside yourself, like that verse from the Bible, says your rod and your staff will comfort you. I don't know, the God of the Bible. So, you know, I'm not led by a rod and a staff, but I do walk through the valley of the shadow of death. And I think that going to the cemetery now will show you what it feels like to walk through the valley of the shadow of death, because that's what the cemetery is. It's a liminal space where you experience the magic. You really do. It's just like stepping through those gates, you will feel the peace. You will feel the peace. And I'm just about to approach the cemetery. It's behind a church. So I'm gonna get my wallet out to pay the groundkeeper. Just a second. Right, so we just crossed through the gate. The butterfly. I'm going to talk to you as I talk to the spirits right now, so please don't think that I've lost my mind. I am talking to these people here. But I lost my brother Patrick. He died. He was the passenger in a moving vehicle being driven by his friend, who claims, after surviving the car crash that my brother died in at 21 years old, he claims he blacked out, and as a result they veered into oncoming traffic across the street and they hit a truck. And they say my brother Patrick was dead upon impact. It hurts just the same, you know. It hurts to lose somebody that you feel so strongly connected to, like my brother Patrick, you know, my older brother. And he was my stepbrother. He came from my dad's first marriage. And I didn't see him that much, but he did live with us for a time when he was about maybe 10, 11, 12 years old. And I was probably about 6 or 7 at the time. And he's always been a big brother to me, even now from across the veil. And he told me that whenever I see a blue butterfly, like I just saw, that it's a sign from him. And so I just want to say hi, Patrick, because I'm pretty sure you guys already know him. He's quite a charmer, and he's also a sweetheart. So yeah, we're gonna keep walking. I brought a crystal. I thought it was really cool. I'm not sure what kind of crystal it is, but it's a brown crystal with like, it looks like the earth. And I think if we remember that we return to earth, just like you have returned to earth, we can find a humility within ourselves that will overcome fear. And I think that's a message from you, Antonia and Genevieve. I think the message from you is, you are human, you will die, and you will be happy because you have a good heart. See, so YouTube, if you respect the dead, and if you revere them and honor them, there's nothing to be afraid of. I brought a rosary because this might be weird, but as somebody who worships the Saint Death, Santa Muerte, I do identify with the Catholic Church. I practice puppet making, which is a form of voodoo, and a lot of Catholic practitioners, as far as I know, practice voodoo. And so I have nothing against the Catholic Church. And so as I was saying, I have a rosary, and I'd like to give it to Antonia and Genevieve, put it on their gravestone, and it's just to say, I am not against Catholicism. I am not against talking to the dead, which is a practice that Catholics practice. They talk to the dead, they pray for their loved ones, they ask for help from other deities for their loved ones. And I think it's beautiful, and I think that I identify as a Catholic as much as I'm a Luciferian satanic witch. I do. So this is for them. And yeah, I'm giving them, it's not the first time I've given you a rosary, is it? But let's go over to the witch's tree. I'll just say my goodbyes. This is my witch tree. There's a serpentine crystal in there. Money, and another crystal. A heart. This is my witch tree. There's ants. So I don't know if I showed you, but I paid the groundskeeper before entering the cemetery gate. I left some money. It doesn't have to be a lot of money if you want to do it yourself. It could be as much as a penny or however amount of money that you want to leave. If you want to actually donate to the church, if you're that much of a devout person with the Catholic Church, you could always donate, or the Anglican Church, or you could always donate to the church where the graveyard is located. I'm sure they could use the money. You know, it's hard to keep places of worship running without paying, you know, the people that run it. And so I haven't been doing it from the very beginning, but I always like to pay the groundskeeper. And I do it spiritually. I pay the spiritual groundkeepers of this cemetery. I call it Breath of the Cemetery. So I just leave a little bit of money, a coin at the gate. I just kind of tuck it into the earth next to the gate, and then I feel like I've paid my dues. Today I gave a little bit more just because I am taking from the groundkeeper. I mean, I'm videotaping inside the cemetery, and you have to be very respectful of these spirits and of the gatekeeper and of the church, you know, that runs the grounds. Or if it's not a church, maybe it's the government. You have to respect the government too, you know, to a certain extent. I mean, I know revolutions were fought, and I also know that revolutions were started by people who were willing to embrace love, like Gandhi or Malcolm X, Saint Teresa. You know, she wasn't afraid to go to the sick and to the homeless and be close to them and show them the love that she chose for herself. And she was the love. And something I have as a motto now for my life is be the love. So when you come to a cemetery, don't leave garbage in the cemetery. You know, that could be physical garbage. You know, don't litter in the cemetery. It's disrespectful to the gravekeeper, and it's also disrespectful to the spirits that are represented here with these gravestones. So, you know, you just have to be mindful of the spirits. Don't do something without asking. It's really important to try to keep that in mind when you go to a cemetery and you take something, unless you 100% know that it's an offering for a greater purpose. Like for me, I used to come to this graveyard, and I used to take the flowers, the false flowers. Sometimes there was petals on the grass from where they were situated, and they're kind of tattered because of the lawnmower, or some of them are still intact. And I used to always respectfully ask, and I used to pick it up and I used to put it at Hecate's feet. And I did that for at least a year. Every time I would come to the cemetery, I would pick up a flower from the grass, and I would, or a petal or something flowery from the cemetery, without disturbing the spirits, and taking from them and then offering them to Hecate. So that's something that I started doing years ago when I started coming to this specific cemetery. So that's something that I've been doing too. And I also recommend is that you build a rapport with the cemetery that you like to go to the most. There's two cemeteries that I try to visit most of the time whenever I have a chance, but this is the main one that I go to. And it's good to be able to let them know when you come into the door right away that they trust you. They kind of know that. Like, even though I still pay the money and I still act with respect, I would do that if I was going over to anybody's house, you know, like I wouldn't be disrespectful to the owners of that house, you know. So yeah, you kind of have to do the same thing in the cemetery. You kind of have to say, this is, you know, as much as the spirits are free and they're not bound to these coffins or these urns or these gravestones even, they are represented here, and they know each other, and they have a community here, and you have to respect the community. So you have to kind of act in etiquette, even though they trust you, because you've built a rapport for them. So I brought the tarot deck that I wanted to get a message from. So I'm going to try not to talk so much, but I think it's good to talk too. I think if you need to talk, you should talk, you know. Some people might think that it's exhibiting effects of mental health issues coming to the cemetery and talking to the spirits. I don't think that's true at all. I think it just shows that you have a good relationship with death, you know. And I think, like we were talking about before, you know, even though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you will fear no evil. Why? Because you know death. You've spent time with death while you were alive. So I'm using the Druidic Tarot, and I'm just gonna shuffle the cards and ask that the universe allow the energy of the tarot, universal spirit of the tarot, to allow Breath of the Cemetery spirits to speak at this time through these cards, through this Druidic Tarot deck that I have. What is a message that comes from the subconscious that needs to be shed light upon? What do we not see? What are we not seeing? What am I not seeing? What can I share with the collective that we are not seeing through these cards? Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands. Bottom of the deck for the Emperor. Card number 4 of the Major Arcana, the Emperor. See the sun in this one? The Emperor of Fire. And the Ten of Wands, the clouds, the darkness, the heaviness. It's all the same. That's what they're saying. The Breath of the Cemetery spirits are saying, whether you walk in the sun or whether you walk in the clouds, you are still walking. And that's a message. Don't be upset for these people. They are happy where they are. That's what I'm getting from this Breath of the Cemetery congregation. They are happy where they are. They wouldn't trade their experiences of walking in the sun versus walking in the clouds for anything, because that was their life. And it was beautiful because they had created their life. And they know that now, that they created this for themselves. They chose to incarnate in the years that they chose to incarnate. And you chose to be here too. That's what they're telling me. You chose to be here too. And I feel that for myself, you know, because sometimes it can feel heavy, but it doesn't have to feel scary, because if you recognize death, that's what they're saying, then when it comes to you, you will know that it is death. And if you spend time with those who have deceased and honor their spirits, and that's what we're going to be doing a lot of as witches and as spiritual practitioners on Samhain, October 31st, we're going to be honoring our ancestors. And these are other people's ancestors. That's what they're saying to me. And they're telling me that. And I'm telling you that. These people that are represented here were family to other people in the human race. And they mean something to other people here. And they mean something to me because they represent people to me. That's the thing. Like when you cross through the valley of the shadow of death in your life, when you face your fears in your life and you come out with the sunshine, and you realize that you created that because you walked through it. not because somebody came beside you and gave you the help, but because you did it, because nobody wants to walk through the valley of the shadow of death, and you do it by yourself. When did you ever think you weren't going to have to do it by yourself? You die by yourself. 10 of Wands, and it's a heavy message, but the sun is waiting. Just believe that you are representing love. That's what they're telling me. They're saying, be the love. They're saying, tell people about us, tell people that we're good, tell people that for the majority of the people that I have met on the other side, the ones that are horrible and have done horrible things, well, they're suffering for it. And the ones that truly live their lives for the good of love, well, they're having a good time over there too. How could you ever expect any less from us? That's what they're saying from me, for me. This is the exit. Okay, so we're done at the cemetery, but of course you always carry a piece of them with you in your heart. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun, and I got a quote, and this is just a little taste of Return from Thaumael, a quote from Abaddon and Astaroth. Hint, hints, for those of you who know, you know. When the universe comes through with a song, you know it's Lucifer. Oh, Astaroth and Abaddon coming through with the fucking gnosis. They look like they're in love. They look like they love each other. Okay, so I'm home now. It is a super summer weather out there. Underneath those curtains, you can clearly see the sun is shining bright, but we try to keep it cool in here. So yeah, that was the Graveyard Cemetery movie on my YouTube channel, of course, Momoon. If it's your birthday this week, happy birthday. If you're watching this during Leo season, if you're watching this during Leo season when I'm recording it, hopefully in the Northern Hemisphere you are feeling the height of summer, because remember, Samhain is coming and the darkness is coming too over here in the Northern Hemisphere. So that's all I have to pay attention to right now. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave it a thumbs up. If it's your birthday this week, happy birthday, and I will see you in my next video. Remember to be the love.